When I tell people about my success with flipping houses and how they could do the same thing, the most common answer is, I would, but I don't have the money or the credit right now. As soon as I explain that I didn't have any money when I started either, they ask, well, where did you get it then? The answer? Investors. And where do you find these investors? You can meet investors anywhere. They're just people that currently are not satisfied with the return they're getting on their retirement account or their savings account. They are bidding at the foreclosure auctions every week. They're at educational conferences and seminars. They're at real estate investing meetups. They're at entrepreneur and small business meetups. They're on biggerpockets.com. Sometimes they're on Craigslist. They might even be your friends and family. You can, and I have, found investors in all of these places. To be honest, finding them is the easy part. Convincing them that you're trustworthy and that you'll be able to grow their money can be a little bit more difficult. So here are 3 of the most successful strategies that I use when trying to win the hearts and the cash of my investors. Number 1, you need to have the knowledge and the confidence that you are the right place for this investor's money. For me, this only came after I had read 20 books on real estate, sales, motivation, knocked on a bunch of doors and talked with sellers, and been to plenty of real estate investing meetups and listened to a bunch of podcasts. Only after I had done all of this did I have enough knowledge to be able to convince an investor I knew what I was talking about. This is important because investors want to know their money is safe, and obviously it is safe when the person who has it knows what they're doing. Number 2, you need to be able to add value to people, and you need to do it often. The first time I met with my first investor, we sat down at a Panera and we talked for an hour about all the different real estate strategies that I was learning. This was a guy who already owned 10 rental properties, so he was familiar with real estate, but I was actually able to teach him all about what lease options were and how they could be more profitable than rentals. He could probably hear the excitement pouring out of me, as well as the fact that I had the knowledge to pull this off. I was so excited about the subject that I got him excited enough to invest with me. This is important because when people see you are genuine and would gladly give your time to help them and invest in them, they will obviously be more inclined to invest in you. Number 3, you need to actually have a deal. None of this would have mattered if I didn't actually have a deal under contract. So I would always recommend to people to go and talk to sellers first and have the confidence that you will be able to find the investor after you get a good deal. Think about what scenario gives you more negotiating power. Scenario 1. Hi, Mr. Investor. I was wondering if one day, if I get a deal, maybe could you give me money for it? And maybe could we do a deal together? And I promise I'll grow your money. Scenario 2. Hi, Mr. Investor. I have this deal under contract already. Here are the numbers. I estimate that we will be making a 20% return on investment in 4 months. I already have the construction crew that will do the renovations, and I have this report from a realtor saying what price it will sell for after we renovate it. Would you like to be a part of this deal? Or should I find another investor that's interested in putting their money to work for them? The second option is obviously way more powerful. It does include a little more risk, but I'm telling you, money is always out there waiting to be used. You just have to get a deal first. Now, there are 2 types of investors that I've found. First type are very easy to find. I'm telling you, anyone can use these investors. They're all across the country. They're called hard money lenders. They are called that because their interest rates are very high. A typical bank right now charges 3 to 4% for a mortgage, and hard money lenders typically charge 12% or more annually, and 2 or more points up front. And by the way, points are just ways for them to get money up front. So if you borrow $100,000 for them, you have to hand over $2,000 back, or 2 points. And then you will start paying 12% annually, so $1,000 a month, when a typical mortgage for a $100,000 house is less than half of that. This sounds outrageous, right? So why would anyone use them? You would use them because they lend only on whether or not you have a deal. They don't care if you have bad credit or how much money you make. They also lend on the after repair value, not the purchase price like most banks. So if you buy a $100,000 house to put $30,000 into it and sell for $170,000, they will give you 70% of the $170,000, which is way more than banks usually lend. But that still leaves you with $10,000 that you need to find to make the deal work. So that's where smaller investors come in. You find those smaller investors in the same place I mentioned before: friends, family, other members of your local real estate meetup, people at conferences and seminars, etc. Now, the second type of investors are called private money lenders. They're a little bit harder to find. I call them 100% investors. So these are people that have a lot of cash but don't define themselves as hard money lenders. I have had the most luck convincing these type of people to put up all 100% of the purchase and rehab price for you. So in the deal I mentioned before, instead of putting up 70% of the total deal, they would put up all $100,000 for purchase and $30,000 for rehab. That means I don't need to find a second investor. And they're more willing to partner with you instead of just charging you monthly interest payments. I prefer this method because it takes some of the risk out of flipping houses. Now, whichever investor you use, you need to start doing these 3 things: learning and networking to gain knowledge and confidence, adding value to other people, and looking for deals and getting them under contract. Comment below if you would like to see me make a video on my reading list next, or how I find deals. Which one would you like to see next?